I lost that in the sun completely.
Yeah, I mean,
but it sounded
dead
all right.
straight, high.
Oh, is it?
Look, just come down there now. I mean, you even look at that still carried 12 yards past your 5-iron. You could almost play a 5-iron and a 5 hybrid because, like I say, that length difference is so much.
Yeah.
Or if, like you say, you're not that keen on looking down at that much loft, we could just take a little bit of length off of a 4 hybrid, you know, take it down more to a 5 hybrid length.
Okay. So this...
Because that, to me, I mean, that was a little bit high and spinny, but that's mainly because the shaft is probably a little bit soft for you.
Oh, that's
nice.
That is high.
Yeah.
But then I guess if these are shots into the green, that's going to grab it, isn't it?
Exactly. You can't launch a 4 or 5-iron like that. It's a huge advantage being able to carry something that far but bring it in at that height. And just bear in mind that these are a little bit softer.
Than my shafts.
Than your shaft. So I think I would give it to you in something closer to your shaft. You're not fighting that right shot, which is why I wanted to put you in this head, the max head. So it's a little bit... Remember, like I talked about with the drivers, how they're, you know, a little bit more draw bias with the different models. Like this head is a little bit more draw bias than the one you have.
Okay.
So straight away, the first 2 shots had started straight down your target line and had almost no shape. They've been like kind of arrow straight. A little bit higher because, like I say, I think this shaft is just a little bit softer than I would like to give you. So with this
Ford, this is a 23, whereas the one I've got is a 22. So okay.
Yeah. Absolutely fine, because like I say again, think of the mass of this head versus an iron, and think about the length of the shaft, the extra speed you're going to generate. Even if we put it in the same loft as your 5-iron, you're still going to hit that 10 yards further just based on, you know, like I say, the mass behind the hit and the speed you're generating. I think the 5, because you do launch these pretty high anyway, I think the 5 hybrid is maybe just a little bit too high, inefficiently high. Even though it's going the right kind of distance, you hit that plenty high enough as it was. And with a slightly stronger shaft, that would just knock it down a little bit as well, something closer to what you're playing. Just try something like in this head. So this is a bit like the driver models, in that this one is not quite as draw bias. Still nice head, should go about the right distance, but I think you'll just fight this one a little bit more than the other model. There you go. See, it's a little bit harder to stay straight, isn't it?
Interesting.
Not a terrible strike, but it started kind of a little right and then faded. So this is the kind of standard model, the one where we ended up in the driver. Again, not bad. I like the trajectory.
A bit out to the right still, isn't it?
A little bit out to the right.
Probably, that is me. That's not...
It is, but then go with this one, look. And I don't think you'll see that.
Thank you. Out to the right there.
The one thing that was easier with this, well, looking at, I mean, the distance you hit, these were the 2 stiffer shafts you hit here. They actually went a little bit further, so that suggests to me the stronger shaft is better. It's just because I like the head geometry of this one, the fact that without you even thinking about adjusting to it or reacting to it, the first 2 you hit just were like straight down your target line, dead straight, and that to me is this head helping you. So I like that, but just in something a little stronger shaft-wise, a little bit more like that. And I would go just that little bit shorter, just because I think, you know, we want to fill the gaps here. And I think, you know, you're either going to have room for, you know, like a 3 hybrid or a 5 wood or something. So we want the gaps to be kind of effective, right? So I like this head. I think the clue was in the first couple of hits, really, before you sort of started adjusting to anything. But the one thing I do notice is when you hit these, the spin is much lower. So that's just that, you know, the slightly stronger shaft helping you. I mean, that one just...
Bit tuggy.
Yeah, but it's so much easier to hit it with a draw than the other heads. Again, that's, you know, all the good hits you've had with that one have been a kind of draw shape to them, had a draw shape to them. Whereas I think with the other 2 heads, you were fighting that. So this is the 4 hybrid 23. So that's the max head.
Loft to max.
Max head. So it's a little bit more lofted, but I think distance-wise with your 5-iron, it still fits in really, really well. You know, we can still afford to actually go a little bit shorter, but I love the height you're getting. Like I say, there's no way you can launch a 4-iron at that kind of height and bring it in with that kind of stopping power on the greens. You know, it's going to be one that you're trying to judge the amount of run and release with a 4-iron. So
then club up from that wise. What
club up from that, so to depending on whether you're more of a hybrid person or a fairway wood.
To be honest, because I just haven't grabbed the woods.
You know, are slightly more like an irons, where you can afford to hit them with a slightly more downward attack. And the fairway woods, obviously, you very much need to hit them more like a sweeping kind of on the upwards, if you like. So you'll find people tend to prefer one or the other.
Okay.
So I think this is the right shaft and the right head.
Okay. Oh, hello.
Nice.
A little bit left, but I like the sound of it.
Yeah, it was
I got
good
excited
contact
before I saw it in the air.
I think you're just used to
hitting hybrid,
trying to draw everything a little bit, where you're hitting stuff out to the right. And again, the more you trust this, I think that you'll just find you'll hit it better and better.
I'm really worried for the guy that's collecting balls.
Lovely.
Oh, I do like that.
Beauty. So I think this shaft in the 4 hybrid, because like I say, this is the perfect shaft I wanted to find in the 4, but well, that's perfect, right? So you've hit 2 identical shots there. They've carried exactly the same distance, same spin. Remember what I was saying, I like consistent numbers. I like consistent launch speed, which is going to give you the consistent carry.
And so that gapping wise between this and the 4 mark.
Yeah, they're carrying 16 yards at the moment on the 4 hybrid, which, you know, at that end of the bag is pretty good, I think. You know, usually through the irons, I would only work on about 10 to 14 yards.
Right.
You want
and this is 16, did you say?
And this is 16,
no,
but in that top end of your bag,
extra,
you know,
definitely.
It's kind of less important to have those 10-yard gaps.
Okay.
And quite often, you know, you need these to cover a little bit more distance.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking, because at the minute, you know, I'm trying to like squeak everything I can out of a 4 hybrid.
Yeah.
When it's really like those second shots onto a par 5. So you're thinking then if you've got another club in the bag that would give you that extra, say, like 15 or so yards carry, give or take, then you kind of, again, just have a bit more opportunity to go for it.
So compare something like that with something like this for me.
Is this the 5 wood?
It's actually a 7 wood.
Okay.
But for me, I think this one will go about the same distance as this one.
Okay,
it's just going to be which one you kind of feel more comfortable hitting. I've
got a friend who absolutely loves their 7 woods.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of them at the moment as well. So.
Out to the right again.
Nice. This is a 5 wood.
5 wood, okay.
But this is actually in the same kind of head, like the you know, let's call it the max head, a little bit easier to draw.
Okay.
And with the shots you're seeing at the moment starting out to the right, you know, good contact on that one. Again, it's just held its line just slightly down the right side there, but a pretty good golf shot, I would say. And looking at how far, I think where the shaft gets that much longer, it's a little bit harder to strike consistently.
Yeah.
Like, I think you're going to make better contact
with my hybrids.
With the hybrids, because they're shorter, they're a little bit easier to strike, a little bit easier to control. Again, that would be a clue to me that in the fairway wood, we'd probably go a little bit shorter. Just make it feel a little bit more comfortable, a little bit easier to strike. Because, okay, you may lose, you know, 3 or 4 miles of clubhead speed, but if you gain consistency of strike,
definitely.
It's always going to be a win. Because the one thing we're trying to do with club fitting is get you to hit it as consistently as possible in the middle.
Right.
And that's what we've talked about with the driver, you know, with the hybrids here. Everything we're trying to do is give you a more consistent centered hit, which is more consistent launch, more consistent spin, more consistent carry, essentially. And so, you know, as that shaft gets longer, it gets harder and harder to achieve.
Right.
Especially when, you know, it's a different swing, a different attack to maybe a hybrid.
Yeah.
It's harder to sort of deliver a consistent strike. Yeah. So, to me, you know, any fairway wood we end up in, I think I would make it a little bit shorter just to make it that much easier for you to strike. Yeah. And less of a battle to kind of sweep off the fairway with a long shaft.
And I think, like you say, it's just I think I can count on like one hand the number of times I've hit that 3 wood off the fairway.
And what would be the main reason for that? I
think over time it's just been like either...
Is it not consistency, lack of confidence, or both?
Massively lack of confidence, but also probably like decision-making wise.
Yeah.
You know, I played a long run of like when I was getting my handicap down with like cards in my hand, and I think I would never risk. Yeah. I'd always play the safe shots because I'd be thinking of like my scoring percentage.
Yeah.
And so if I like wasn't sure about the lie with the 3 wood, I wouldn't take it. If it was, you know, if it's on an upslope, but you think, actually, do you know what, I could miss this so far that way that it's not as safe or reliable as my 4 hybrid. Yeah. So because I then just got so comfortable with 4 hybrid, I just would reach for that.
Well, to be honest, now you've got this 3 hybrid in there as well, which I think you know, and as we've seen, it's going 16 yards longer than your 4 hybrid.
Whole new world.
It's kind of almost doing the job of a 3-wood / 5-wood anyway.
Trying to come back.
Pretty good hit, but I still don't think that's going past your 3 hybrid.
No, I don't know. And again, that's probably a confidence thing, but...
Yeah, there you go. I mean, it's 5 yards shorter than your 3 hybrid.
How funny.
So it was a good shot, but it wasn't a perfect clean strike. And I think with the good thing you had with that 3 hybrid was good clean strikes
just the
straight off the bat.
In it,
yeah, straight off the bat. It wasn't like you were searching for it or finding it. So this is the 3-wood.
Okay.
So my problem here is that the shaft's getting even longer, so it's getting a little bit harder still.
Yeah.
But what I want to try and see is if you do with good contact, is this going to go further again? Because to be quite honest with you, at the moment, this is not worth putting in the bag over a 3 hybrid.
No, okay.
But if this one can get out to, you know, another 10 yards on the 3 hybrid, then...
Could be worth it.
But it's going to need to be shorter for you, to give you that consistent strike. So I would go at least an inch shorter.
He's right in the danger zone, so I might give it...
Yeah. Pretty good.
Okay, just again, it's out, you know, my right miss at the minute, which we know about.
But again, to me, that was right, but it was trying to come back.
Okay, yes.
Wasn't it?
So
it wasn't
complete.
It wasn't a weak going right.
No.
So straight away there, look, that's 5 yards longer and carry than your 3 hybrid. And obviously we're going to get a bit more run.
Yes.
So that is, in total, that's, what was that, 9 yards? And it wasn't a perfect hit.
No.
Nice.
That was better, wasn't it?
Yeah. Again, you could hear it wasn't perfect clean strike.
No, but it's still drawing
There was a little bit of mat involved.
Yeah.
But you're still going to get more out of that there again. So that's still going further than you can hit the 3 hybrid.
Okay.
So that actually has a place in your bag, whereas the 5-wood doesn't.
I just have to get to grips with it.
It's just too long to be consistent.
Okay.
I almost want the 3-wood, but at like a 7-wood length, to be honest. Because I think then you'll strike it better. And like I say, okay, you might give up a little bit of the club speed here, but because of the better strike, you'll gain ball speed, you'll gain height, you'll gain carry.
Oh, I'd take the better strike.
So what we need to do is, you know, we've got your 3-wood here, look.
Oh no.
I already think this one's going to be a bit longer. So I want to go, you know, I'm talking about going, you know, at least half an inch shorter than this one. So you can see, So we're already an inch over. So we need to go an inch and a half off of this one. Which would bring us half inch under this one, which I think is just going to make you feel a little bit more comfortable at address, a little bit, you know, easier to deliver.
Definitely.
A little bit less ground involved in the strike.
Then headwise again with that much.
Headwise, it's a little bit bigger, you can see. So this is the max head, which is that one that's a little bit easier to draw, a little bit bigger in profile, so it's a bit more forgiving, which is, again, consistency is something that you want. It's a 16 loft, so it has a little bit more loft than your average 15-degree 3-wood. I think height-wise, when you hit it, you know, it's fine. It's doing what we want it to do. The 5-wood just isn't carrying consistently past your 3 hybrid to even have a place.
Exactly.
So we need something that's going to be justifiable to go in the bag. So if you can hit that a little bit more consistently, it has a place in your bag, I still think.
So you go 3-wood, 3 hybrid, 4 hybrid.
Yeah, I think so.
Brilliant.